Oppo's only just announced the Oppo Find X2 Pro, but I've already had the chance to have a little bit of hands-on time. But before we get to that, you should go and hit like, you should go and hit subscribe right now. It helps the channel, it helps me keep making these videos. Now let us get back to the regular show. So the Oppo Find X2 Pro's only just been announced, but I've already had a little bit of time to go hands-on with the Chinese company's newest flagship phone. It'll be coming to Australia by the middle of the year for $1,599, which for a flagship 5G phone is actually pretty sharp pricing. So what do you get for that kind of money? Well, you get a 6.7-inch phone with a 3168 by 1440 display. It supports 120 Hz refresh rates, although it can drop that down to 60 Hz to save a bit of battery. It also has a default auto mode where it may switch between them depending on the way you're using it. Oppo's calling this the Ultra Vision screen, and its claim is that it breaks all sorts of DisplayMate records for how very, very good it is. I didn't get a lot of time to really stare deeply into it or put it under a microscope or anything, but it certainly looked sharp. I actually really do appreciate the fact that Oppo has gone for a hole punch camera at the top as well. Its previous phones of this kind of series have tended to have little pop-up cameras instead, and while I appreciate that let them do a full screen display, the problem there was you lost all water resistance and you always had to wait for that camera to pop up if you wanted to take a selfie anyway. This just gets past those in a way that really doesn't have that much impact. Although, of course, what we didn't see on this phone that a lot of people expected was an in-display camera. Oppo is obviously still working on that technology. Around the back, there's a triple camera array with a 48 megapixel primary wide-angle sensor, another 48 megapixel ultra-wide sensor, and a periscope style 13 megapixel sensor. Not a bad little recipe in a technical sense. Oppo says it'll do up to 10 times hybrid zoom, and if you really want to push it, 60 times digital zoom. Now, I did have the opportunity to take a few photos, and Oppo let me actually take them away so I can show them to you. And look, I couldn't test everything. I couldn't test low light. I couldn't really test video to any great degree. But what I shot so far, it looks okay, at least in basic light. There are some caveats to that though. 60 times digital zoom is just going to look like junk no matter what you do. Here's a 60 times digital zoom shot that I took with the Find X2 Pro, and it just looks awful. But everyone's extreme zooms look awful. They're basically good for making you feel a bit creepy because you're kind of staring way off into the distance, but they're not really good for usable shots. The other factor with this is your color choice. In Australia at least, Oppo's going to sell it in ceramic black, which is just another black shiny phone. It picks up fingerprints like crazy, but that's par for the course. Me, I'd be throwing a case on it anyway, but your taste may differ. Or organic leather orange. And look, I'm really a bit split on this one. I really do like the orange colour. It's very pixel-esque, of course, but I'm not personally a big fan of leather feel on the back of phones. There's something about that extra friction that doesn't sit well with me. Your own taste and mood may vary. Now, under the hood, it's powered by the Snapdragon 865 processor. You get 12 gig of RAM and 512 gig of onboard storage. There's no storage expansion though, so that 512 gig is all you're going to get, but that's a reasonably solid amount, especially for this kind of money. There's a 4260 milliamp battery sitting underneath it. Now, again, couldn't really test that to the point of exhaustion, nor could I test Oppo's new SuperVOOC charger. Oppo says it'll do up to 65 watt charging, and in just 10 minutes you can get 40% of the battery back. That's pretty impressive, although there's no sign in the specifications of it supporting wireless charging, which is maybe a little disappointing. At that price point though, Oppo could have a really, really good phone on its hands. We'll really have to wait and see, of course. It's expected in Australia by mid-year, may of course hit their home Chinese market a little faster than that. As a reminder, you should absolutely hit like and subscribe. Go check out my other videos. And as always, thanks for watching.